Welcome to this week's edition of Mainly Motorsports, and things look a little different, a little bit smaller on set this week. It's because it's Kids Week. We're going to dedicate this week's show on Thanksgiving Eve to kids, and kids play such a huge part in motorsports in the state of Maine, and we got some great races. And with me today is a young man by the name of Sulo Burbank. You saw him a few weeks ago when we were doing our October mess coverage. Actually, it's supposed to be Oktoberfest, but you were in that mess, right? And, and Sulo's going to talk a little bit about his young racing career and give us a little insight on the Race 101 program that he's in the, you're rounding the four-turn and the checkered flag's out, and you're trying to wrap up the program. And he's going to take us through what he's been through. But first thing I want to know is, what was it like to be in that race down at Lee that night?
That was ridiculous. There was 32 cars there. I think I started 13th or 14th. Ran around there for a while. It was going good. And what put the dagger in us was the motor mounts loosened up, and one actually bent when I went through the rumble strips. The motor mount bent, and the radiator went through the fan went through the radiator.
So your night was done.
That was it.
So, did you get a chance to watch the rest of it, or was that towards the end of it?
Yeah, I watched the last 20 laps, which took about an hour or so.
Yeah, what a mess, huh? It makes you proud to be a pro stock driver, huh?
Yeah.
But really, and everybody, heard you that night talk about the season you had over at Canaan, working with Donnie Lashore and his team, and so that really wasn't what you were all about that night. That was just a mess that you were involved in, but it wasn't your doing. But you had a great year at Canaan, and really looking forward to that next step. But that's a big deal for a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I can't wait for next year. We had a really good year this year, ran 3rd, Rookie of the Year, 4th in the 6-pack series. I'm hoping next year we get the funds to hopefully maybe try to go pass racing, or at least run a couple races.
Yeah, and at a young age, any seat time you get adds to the experience. And obviously, if you can start racing with the likes of the Clarks and the Rose, and these are household names up here in New England, you're only going to get better racing around better competition. Yeah, and then you mentioned you're 15 years old, so you're in school. What do the kids at school think about the fact that you race?
I don't really tell them. Not many people actually know. They know I race, but they don't get the actual concept. Even some of my friends who know a little bit about cars and whatnot, they come to the shop and they're completely awed at what actually the whole program is.
Really? So it's kind of like you keep that separate from what you do. Now, you started out in karts. Your sister followed your path, but then she realized that she was going to find more success in field hockey and some of the other sports, which she's pretty good at.
Yeah.
But do you think karts is the way to go? I mean, it's really the only option for these young kids, because we're going to have somebody on a little bit later in our show, Ivan Cel, who's he's new to the area, new to karts, and he's already thinking down the road, or his dad's thinking of what their next step would be. I mean, is that what led to your success at such an early age?
Yeah, definitely the karts were a great step. I mean, you look around, almost everyone who's come into NASCAR, not everyone, but most people who come into NASCAR have come out of karts. Everyone around here who races cars, who's fairly young, has come out of karts. Trevor Sanborn, Tommy Stilfen runs karts, ran karts, and I was in the big cars. I mean, there's a bunch of us, and I think it's the best step. There's a lot of racing and a lot of competition. Yeah,
so that's good. And, you're now the one in the long list of guys that have used karts as a stepping stone to try that next level. But we caught up with some drivers partway through the season, towards the end, up in Speedway 95 Unity ranks. Young drivers like Sulo, just trying to make a name for themselves and use their divisions up there as a stepping stone. And that's one thing that Beechridge doesn't have, is a stepping stone. They have the Whiz Kids program, but you got to be your age at 15 and to be able to compete. Whereas the tracks up north, Speedway 95 and Unity, they don't tie your hands, so to speak. They allow you to start at a younger age.
Yeah, Beechridge is tough. I mean, I was running past mods when I was 12, and I couldn't run Beechridge, and it kind of made it a moot point because we could only run 8 out of 12 races and couldn't compete for any championships for 2 years. It was rough, but now we got our pro stock, and I'm legal at every track. I will be next year at every track in the Northeast, so I'll be all set.
Well, that's cool. Well, we're going to take a break from Sulo. We're going to show you the interviews. We caught up with DC Alexander, Matt Kimball, and Ryan Modry, and see what they have to say about being a young driver racing at a track in northern Maine. And we'll take a break, and then we'll come back with Sulo to talk about his Race 101 program.
We're talking to DC Alexander, who runs here in Speedway 95 in the Stars of Tomorrow division on Wednesday night. Thank you for taking the time with us this afternoon, DC. When did you become interested in racing stock cars?
Well, my dad's been racing since I was a baby, and always been around it. It's just, I guess it's in the blood.
Just an old family tradition? Yep.
The 3 generations.
3 generations? Yep. Yep. Good, good. Do you have older, more experienced drivers that give you advice with your driving setup on your car and that sort of thing? And if so, what do you do with that advice?
Well, I have my dad. He tells me quite a bit of stuff, and try to listen to him. I don't always, but I try.
Yeah, well, sometimes we have to kind of do things our own way, and we learn the hard way sometimes, for sure. Where do you see yourself in a few years from now as far as racing is concerned, DC?
Well, I hope I want to race my dad's car. Drives a late model. I like to be driving that. I like to drive it next year, but Mom says no.
I'm sure she wants you to take a little time to get up to that. But, well, great. Well, thank you, DC, for taking the time again with us.
Thank you.
We're talking to Matt Kimball here today, who drives the 09 car in the Stars of Tomorrow division. Matt, thank you for taking just a few minutes to talk to us. Look, I understand that the number on your car, the 09, carries some significance. Could you tell us about that?
I got it from the year I started. That's how Shelby got hers.
Yeah, so Shelby started in 08 and you started in 09. Okay, great. Listen, tell me, what got you interested in racing?
Well, my sister started racing, so I figured I'd try it next year. Dad built the Escort and got, I think, 3rd with it.
So that was your first year out, you got a 3rd place finish. That's really, really good, yeah. Now, do you have older drivers, Matt, that come to you and give you advice on setups and different things? And if so, what do you do with that advice that they give you?
I got my sister, so usually she'll tell me to try to run, out more sometimes, so I'll try it on the track.
Yeah. So you take the advice that people give you and you use it, and you find that it makes a difference for you?
Yeah.
Good. So you're learning something new all the time then in this. Now, what division do you see yourself racing in the future? As you, like, say 2015, or where are you headed with your racing?
I want to go into the Sport 4s, which we'd have to have a different car, though, I think. Something with a little bit more power.
So you're looking to do Sport 4s? And what are you going to do, like, say, in a few more years after Sport 4s? What do you think you'd like to be doing?
Strictly's like what my sister runs.
Good. Well, Matt, again, thank you for taking the time with us. We're talking to Ryan Modry, who drives the number 11 car in the Bomber division here on Saturday nights at Speedway 95. Thank you, Ryan, for just taking a couple of minutes. Last year you were in the Stars of Tomorrow division. You've now moved up to the Bomber class. How's that going for you?
It's going pretty good. We're leading the points, and we got a pretty good lead on that. We've had a good year. We've got 5 wins, and almost all the races we've got are top 3s, except for 1.
So you really made some stride with that. Tell me, when did you begin to be interested in racing, and what got you interested in racing stock cars?
I've really been interested in it my whole life, because my dad's been racing since I was born, and yeah, I've been wanting to do it my whole life.
Good. And do you have drivers that, older drivers, that give you advice on setups and how to run this particular track? And if so, what do you do with that advice, Ryan?
Yeah, my dad helps me a lot with tips for how to get around the track and does the setup. And Ed Libby, I'm driving the car for him, and he tells me what I need to do to the car and how to drive it. And yeah, I take advice from Dale Swoboda too, because he's the one that driving this car this year.
And what are your goals for racing? What division do you want to see yourself in?
Next year I'm moving up to late model, and I think I'll be racing that full time.
And it'll be this car here?
No, we actually have another one at home, and I think my dad's going to drive this one.
Oh, okay, well, great. Well, Ryan, thank you for just taking a few minutes to speak with us today.
Yep.
Hey, are you Bob Crowley?
Hey, yeah?
Are you going to Ossipee Trail?
Yes, I am.
Sweet! Get in!
People will do whatever they gotta do to get to Ossipee Trail Motor Sales, Route 25, Gorham.
Clark's Car Crushing has been a family-owned and operated business since 1978. We do everything from crushing cars, handling industrial scraps, to buying the scrap metal right out of the back of your pickup. Copper, brass, stainless steel, aluminum, you name it, we'll buy it. We have roll-off containers of all sizes for industrial accounts. We'll handle the legwork with full drop-off and pickup services. So for a professional job, guaranteed honest weights, and top dollar paid statewide, come see the Clark family in Farmingdale, Maine. Clark's Car Crushing. Don't fix it, scrap it.
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
You're watching Mainly Motorsports, brought to you by Gary Hotels, located in Brunswick, Freeport, Waterville, and Augusta, the official hotel of Mainly Motorsports.
Now we're back here with Sulo Burbank. Now let's talk about Race 101. How'd you find out about the program?
I found out about it, we found out about it the year Charlie Buxton did it, 2010. We didn't get our application in time, so we had to wait till next year, 2011, and we got our application in, and it was good. We got accepted into the program.
So you got accepted into the program, but there's obviously some criteria that goes along with that. I mean, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, or Larry, Curly, and Moe doesn't get to send in. And actually, this is a kid show, right? So we should say every SpongeBob, SquarePants, and Squidward, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't get to go into this program. So what are some of the criteria they look at to get accepted?
I believe it's 12 to 28-year-olds, upcoming race car drivers. You have to send in a resume, racing resume. You also have to send in a written piece that explains why you should be one of their students, why you believe you're above others.
Wow, that's pretty good. So this isn't no cakewalk. This isn't one of those ones where, Dad's got the 5-figure check to send, and you're guaranteed in whether you can tie your shoe and chew gum.
Yeah, no.
So this is pretty good. So now you're accepted. Talk about the process, because we had you on back last winter when you were getting ready to go down for your first initial, class time. Take us through what the whole last year has been like for you as a process.
Well, you started out by going right down there in February, first week of February, with Tony Blanchard and Anna-Marie Strahan, who started the school. Anna-Marie does the marketing, Tony does the setup of the cars, and we did the first 3 days of class, put in like 20 hours in 3 days. It was a lot of class time, a lot of stuff we learned. The next month we did the same thing, but there's weekly classes in between online. It's kind of like a Skype setup. We learned a lot in there too. And then there was a long break through the spring and summer we wouldn't go down there at all, just online classes every week. And just got back 2 weeks ago from the last class. We tested a car Wednesday, their super late model, at Hickory Motor Speedway, and that's part of the reason that they picked the driver is that testing. It's also how you market yourself, how you are as a person. And the next thing is January is graduation.
Really? So that's really, you need the total package. There's a million of Sulo Burbanks that think they can drive a race car, but it's the fact that all the stuff, the schoolwork, the learning in it. And one of the things that I found interesting, they not only teach you behind the wheel or turning wrenches, but they want you to understand the marketing side of your racing operation, your race team, and the management side, the cost of this. So that makes you a more well-rounded racer. I mean, let's face it, the chances of anyone that's in this program advancing and us tuning in at Homestead in 6 years and watching them challenging Kyle Edwards or Tony Stewart or the Bush Brothers or anything, is probably pretty slim. It can happen, but it's probably pretty slim. But that's not to say that Sulo Burbank can't make a living off racing, whether it's at a driver on a regional touring series or at a crew chief level or something. So you're always going to have this one-on-one program to fall back on, is the experience you gain from it.
Yeah, and they don't promise stardom at all. Their goal is to make you a better race car driver, the whole package, so that you can, like you said, go down in a few years and make a living off racing, not in the NASCAR level.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the top level. And you mentioned Tony and Anne-Marie. I mean, are there other people in that process that play a major role in this whole program?
Adam Ross, he's from New York, I believe. He's part of the marketing, helps us do our interviews, get our interview skills up. And Tony Stevens from North Carolina, he just helps with the whole process, helps Tony and Anna.
Yeah, and then obviously back home, and we heard it a few weeks ago when we had you on with the Oktoberfest, you know, your dad just, you know, lugging you from the time you were probably 7 and 8 starting karts, and now it's got to be, you know, rewarding for him. I'm not saying the costs definitely haven't gone down. The costs are up there. The work is probably harder than it was go-karts, but still, to see the success that you have running through the one-on-one program and racing at Canaan and, you know, and all that, I mean, he's huge in your deal.
Yeah, he is. I got to thank him a bunch. This year's been a great breakthrough year after we teamed up with Brown Racing and Donnie Lashua. Everything's kind of paid off. I mean, hopefully next year it goes even better, but this year really got a bunch of top 5s, couple top 3s, got third in the championship. And I really got to thank my dad. He's the major role in everything I do.
Yeah, and now I got one more question, and it's probably going to be a stumper. But everybody that's seen you and your dad over the last few years has seen that old white beat-up Dodge that he's trucked around. The thing blew up on the way to Oktoberfest. Yeah. Has he got plans in place to replace that for 2012? I
sure hope so. Hopefully a toter home or something nice.
There you go. So yeah, that's what Eric's got to do, is spend some money, so the money's not getting any cheaper. Well, Sulo, I want to thank you for taking the time, coming on here in Kids Week, you know, because you are a kid, 15. You're going to be one of the oldest ones we have here today. But you did a good job, and you know, I thank you, and good luck in this final process as you round turn 4 and you're headed for the checkered with a race one-on-one program.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back on Mainly Motorsports.
Is it time to replace that old car, but past credit problems are getting in the way? At JT Motors, credit issues are a thing of the past. We have vehicles for any need. Growing family? How about a minivan? With winter here, come in and browse our great selection of 4-wheel drive utilities. With a low down payment, you can qualify for this program despite those past credit issues. That's JT Motors, 650 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, where you always drive away with a smile on your face.
All of us at Moody's Collision Centers would like to thank you for supporting us for over 30 years.
We all own stock in Moody's and have a vested interest in you and your vehicle.
The people at Moody's Collision Centers are part of the community, and our reputation is very important to us.
We take pride in our work and guarantee our repairs for as long as you own your vehicle.
At Moody's Collision Center, we care about our customers.
So when your insurance company asks where you want to go, tell them Moody's Collision Centers. 4 convenient locations: Gorham, Scarborough, Biddeford, and now Portland.
At Southern Maine Motors, we're celebrating Jeep's 70th anniversary with our spring events. Get the vehicle you want at a price no one else can touch, like a 2011 Jeep Compass, lease for only $239 a month for 39 months, or a 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee, lease for only $299 a month. Plus, right now, used car values are at an all-time high. Bring in your own vehicle and drive off in a brand new car. With savings this big, it's no wonder Southern Maine Motors is out to be Maine's #1 Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealer. Visit southernmainmotors.com.
Award Champs, rewarding your champions. The official supplier of Mainly Motorsports. You're watching Mainly Motorsports. Brought to you by Scott's Recreation. Now at 3 convenient locations. Go to scottsrecreation.com to view their inventory. Clark's Car Crushing, located in Hollowell, providing guaranteed honest weights with top dollar being paid.
Okay, we started this week's kids show off with Sulo Burbank on the pinnacle of taking the next step and advancing his racing career. Now we have a young man, Ivan Cel, that is 2 years into racing, and it's just finished off his first year, which was a very successful year, up at RKS. Now why don't you tell the viewers of Mainly Motorsports, Ivan, how old you are and where do you go to school?
I'm 9 years old and I go to Raymond Elementary School.
So you must be like in the 4th grade, right?
Yep, I'm in 4th grade.
Any girlfriends?
No.
That's right. We're taking our racing serious, right? They only hold you back, right? Right? Yeah, I know. You gotta be careful because you probably got one too many watching. But you're big into racing. You're a race fan. What are some of the other things you do other than racing?
I play many sports. I play basketball, baseball, football. And
So you get it done. You do anything that's sports orientated.
Yep.
But the racing thing, you traveled up to Richmond for this year for the first time, moving from New Hampshire. Met a lot of great friends.
Yep.
You know, and I talk with your dad all the time, and that's one of the biggest things he takes from it is the relationships you've got with Gunnar and Garrett and Maxie and all those guys, huh? There's some good kids up there.
Yep.
You know, and but talk about this year in karts. You didn't know what to expect. You showed up. You didn't know a lot of people. You know, a lot of kids. You'd never been on a track that size with that speed. So talk about what it meant to race at Richmond and how that worked out for you.
Well, when we showed up, we didn't think that we would do so well, but we got like 3rd or 4th the first race. And so we felt pretty good about it. Then on my birthday, we won on May 7th, the 2nd race, and then we were in the points lead, so we thought we would do pretty good. Then then we had our,
We had a bunch of, we had the Friday night series.
Yeah.
You know, they had the Triple X series. You were a threat between Gunnar Rowe and yourself. You and Gunnar Rowe at the beginning of the year were the class of the field in the blue plate division up there. You know, then, you know, not that you tailed off, but Jacob Nichols, Maggie Furlan, Austin Terry, them guys started closing the gap.
They all started to get better.
Yeah, that made for some real good racing. You know, so compare, you know, because we always talk to the older drivers, the guys that are racing cars. Now, you've raced 2 years in your life. You raced a year at 106, and you raced a year at Richmond. Compare the two tracks and what the differences are and what makes one track a favorite of yours versus the other.
Well, my favorite track was Route 106. It's just like a mini Bristol. It's high banking. It's a short track. And the senior classes, you're always turning, so it's just like Bristol. And at Richmond, you're for the upper classes, you're going into the corner and you actually have straightaways, so
yeah, it's a longer
you gain
straightaways.
more speed.
But you know, we got a couple of interviews we're gonna pop in here, and then we're gonna come back on our next segment and talk some more about one of the things that really caught my eye about you on the sponsor side of things and how you feel about and treat your sponsors. But one of these interviews, it's kind of neat. A couple of sisters, Emily and April McAlpine, their dad races. Well, that's going to be Ivan and Owen Kaffel next year, right? Because little brother Owen's going to get behind the wheel and start racing, huh?
In a kid's cart, yeah.
In a kid's cart. So that's going to be a big deal for you because you're going to race, you know, we'll talk about that in the next segment. We don't want to give it away, but you're going to be racing more. And part of your duties and responsibilities up there is going to be taking care of Owen.
Yep.
You know, so you're going to kind of be a crew chief type of thing.
Yeah,
so
a
that's,
little crew chief.
Little crew chief for little Owen. So that's going to be a big deal. But we're going to have a word with Emily and April and see what they talk about their racing from this past year. They were up to Unity Raceway. And then also Emma Libby. Emma Libby is one of those young drivers that she'll race anywhere, anytime. She's at 95. If they're not racing, she goes to Unity. If they're not racing, she runs up to Spud. And we'll hear what Emma has to say. And she's got a big group support, family support like yourself. So it's a pretty big deal with these kids getting the opportunities. So we're going to take a break. We'll watch these interviews, and we'll be back with Ivan Kaffel.
We've caught up with Emily and April McAlpine here at Unity Raceway, who run in the Teen Thunder division here each week. And girls, thank you for just taking a few minutes with us. I want to ask you, when did you become interested in racing stock cars?
A few years ago. Yeah, I really wanted to I wanted to race a couple years ago, but I wasn't old enough.
So you guys have been wanting to do this since you were how old?
I've been at it for quite a few years, so yeah. Yeah, same here.
Okay. And when you guys were in the stands watching people race here, who was your favorite drivers?
My dad.
Your dad?
My dad.
That's kind of what I thought you was going to say. Now you're running in this division and you're going to stay here for another few years, I'm assuming?
No, I don't know if I'm racing next year, but if I do, it won't be in the teens.
You're going to move up, and where do you think you're moving to?
Flying Force.
Yeah, good, good. And you?
Probably another year as a teens.
Another year in the teens. Okay, well, we'll be watching for both of you out there, and we thank you for just taking a few minutes with us today. This is Chris Marley with Mainely Motorsports. We're here at Speedway 95 today talking to some of the young guns and some of the lady drivers, and we've caught up with Emma Libby. Emma runs in 2 divisions here, one being the Bomber class on Saturday night and the Stars of Tomorrow on Wednesday night. And Emma, I want to thank you for just taking a few minutes of your time to speak with us today. Emma, when did you become interested in racing, and how did that all happen for you?
Well, my Uncle Doug and all my cousins are racing, like Pro Stocks, Late Models, and Super Streets. So I was like 6 or 7, and I was like, Dad, can I have a race car? And Dad was like, I'll think about it. And then so like last year, I like kind of got into it, and then this year, it's really happened.
Yeah, it sure has. I mean, you've come a long ways since last year to this year. I know that you captured your first checkered flag 2 weeks ago here at the Bomber class, and almost caught one last week if it hadn't been for a malfunction of your car. But so you're really coming well with that.
Yeah, I've been successful actually. It runs in the family, I guess.
Good. So who do you have for more experienced drivers that try to give you advice, and also what do you do with that advice that they give you?
Well, I mostly get my experience from my Uncle Doug Sinclair, and Dean Smud that races in late models, and they tell me like what to do, like on the track, like go low, like try to punch it in low, or like just give it some time to like raise up, and like I take that to heart, and like I think about it on the racetrack. When it's the right time, I just go.
Yeah, good. Well, it sounds like you've got some people in your family that have raced for many years, so you're coming from a racing family, and that, of course, that always helps. Where do you find yourself? What division do you want to be running in, in a few years, Emma?
Well, I kind of want to race Sport 4 next year, and then work my way up. I really want to get to late models and super streets.
So you're in this thing for the long haul, then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you're going to do fantastic as you move up the ranks with this. And again, Emma, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Hey, I'm Kyle Busch, and when I'm in Maine, I watch Mainly Motorsports.
Thinking about a new camper? What if you could get a new camper now and not pay for it till next year? Now you can at Scott's Recreation. Buy a new travel trailer, we'll make your payments until January 2012. Buy any new fifth wheel, we'll make your payments until March 2012. Over 100 units in stock and online at scottsrecreation.com. Camp now, pay later.
Scott's Recreation, Route 4 Turner and Route 202 Manchester, Maine.
Life in Maine is all about outdoor fun and being close to nature. Southern Maine Jeep is all about delivering you the best selection and the best prices at one location. Live it up with a new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee, increased horsepower and mileage. Or go for the all-new look of the Jeep Compass 4x4. If Maine had a state car, it would be the Jeep. No other vehicle has the capabilities that come standard on every Jeep. No other dealer is working as hard to be #1 as Southern Maine Motors.
Clark's Car Crushing has been a family-owned and operated business since 1978. We do everything from crushing cars, handling industrial scraps, to buying the scrap metal right out of the back of your pickup. Copper, brass, stainless steel, aluminum, you name it, we'll buy it. We have roll-off containers of all sizes for industrial accounts. We'll handle the legwork with full drop-off and pickup services. So for a professional job, guaranteed honest weights, and top dollar paid statewide, come see the Clark family in Farmingdale, Maine. Clark's Car Crushing. Don't fix it, scrap it.
You're watching Mainly Motorsports, brought to you by LKQ Corp. Any part, any repair, anywhere. Located on Route 202 in Gorham. Moody's Collision Centers, now in 5 convenient locations. Biddeford, Gorham, Portland, Sanford, and Scarborough.
All right, we're back here on Mainly Motorsports with 9-year-old Ivan Cel, right? Are we 9?
Yeah.
All right, jeez. Boy, we just 8 yesterday. Not really, right? But what do you think about being on Mainly Motorsports? Is it pretty cool?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
now that girlfriend that you don't have, you'll probably have a whole bunch of girlfriends when they're flicking through the channels Thursday night and say, I know that little cute little boy, right? Yeah, you'll think so. So when they start bringing you candy to school, you got to bring some to the big guy, right?
Yeah.
So share alike. But one of the things that really made me notice you, Ivan, as a person, as a racer, was your commitment to your sponsors, okay? And you get it, and you understand how the importance and the role that the sponsor plays in your race team, right?
Yeah, they just like put the tires on the car, they keep them on, they like help us pay for everything and help us get the gas for the go-kart, so.
Yeah, because it's, even at the go-kart level, it can get expensive.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that Ivan does is, you know, he always had a nice-looking suit. And people think that the suit thing is a minor thing, but it's not. It's, when they look at Ivan, what do they see? They don't, every time they see Ivan, he has that suit on.
Yeah.
Not Ivan with his go-kart, because you're only in your go-kart a few times, and then you're off running with your friends and stuff, you had your suit on. But every time, at the end of the day, when they did the awards ceremony, you know, you might have been the first race of the day, and 4 hours later getting your award, you always had your fire suit on, you kept it on, and that was a way of showing appreciation towards your sponsors and keeping their name out there.
Yeah, so.
You know, and that's a big deal. And then talk about the Mainly Motorsports TV 400 weekend. You won the pole award Saturday. You won a plaque.
Yeah.
You won some ice cream, right? That was the best part of it. Let's face it, we're 9 years old. We want the ice cream. But, and the hat. And then you took that hat and you wore it all weekend. And then, you know, we just thought you thought it was cool. But, you know, tell these guys why you kept that hat on and the meaning behind that. I kept that hat on because most of the races were sponsored by LKQ. And, like, just like, I like the hat, and I thought it would be good to like keep the hat on all weekend to sponsor LKQ. Yeah, because they were the pole award sponsor, and then you thought they could be, somebody could be walking around. You didn't know, you know what I mean? Because nobody knows who would sponsor us. So you took a chance that maybe LKQ was walking around there, and you wanted to kind of make them feel appreciated, and that's, you know, not that the kids that didn't keep the hat on, because we know they don't want to mess their hair up, or it was hot in that, but you know, that goes a long ways when a sponsor, when they see, you know, a kid that's willing to go the extra mile, because the parents, you know, they understand because they need the help to keep you in the go-kart. But when you're trying to do your part and doing what you can to keep the sponsors happy, it makes their job a little easier. Yeah. Now, you had some great sponsors this year. Why don't you take this time to throw their plug and give them their opportunity? Well, we had VIP Inner Space Services, we had Motion Industries, Health Source, Songo Locks, Recycling, VIP, Mainly Motorsports. What did I do? We got a sticker. We got a sticker. So who's the guy that's got it figured out, right? The guy that just gives you a sticker. Everybody wants one of my cool stickers. And last but not least, we had AMS too. Yeah, so you had some good sponsors, and obviously your parents making it. And you really did a nice job on your operation. You kept your cart clean. Now, I know it's still early, but what are Ivan's plans for 2012? 2012, we aren't running for points in 2012. We're gonna travel to Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine, and we're just gonna have fun with it and run your race and get some more experience at different tracks, and that's what's going to help you as a racer. And learn how to adapt to tracks. Yeah, and what's your other job? Other job? Taking care of Owen. Owen, baby. Kids cart. And let me tell you, anybody that's seen Owen up there, whether it's pushing his little truck around or running around on his scooter, he's going to be fun to watch, right? Yeah. So just another one in the long line of races starting out. You know, Owen's going to be 4 doing his deal, and you're going to be racing next year at 9 and then 10. Yeah, he races his little scooter around the garage and the road. He races everywhere. Yeah, so he's going to have a fun time, huh? Yeah. It's just going to keep everybody busy. Mm-hmm. Well, did you enjoy your experience on Mainly Motorsports? Yeah, it was fun. All right, well, I hope, I mean, you're a cute little kid, and hope this will help you maybe attract one of them girls in the 4th grade up there. What is it, Raymond Elementary School? Yeah. All right, you need a letter of reference? I don't, yeah, I mean, hey, you know, I mean, it's time, you know what I mean? Somebody to carry your helmet and your suit at the track and all that. No, you'll be all right. Good job. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Alicia Perry here on Mainly Motorsports.
5 years ago, I went shopping for my family's first camper. I didn't like the prices, and I didn't like the way I was treated. A year later, I opened up Scott's Recreation.
Today, Scott's Recreation is Maine's exclusive multi-line Heartland dealer, along with being Maine's #1 fifth-wheel dealer 2 years in a row. Browse through the new 2012 Heartland models or take advantage of closeout prices on 2011s. Scott's welcomes almost anything in trade, financing available too. Scott's Recreation, Route 202 in Manchester, and their new Turner location on Route 4.
All of us at Moody's Collision Centers would like to thank you for supporting us for over 30 years.
We all own stock in Moody's and have a vested interest in you and your vehicle.
The people at Moody's Collision Centers are part of the community, and our reputation is very important to us.
We take pride in our work and guarantee our repairs for as long as you own your vehicle.
At Moody's Collision Center, we care about our customers.
So when your insurance company asks where you want to go, tell them Moody's Collision Centers. 4 convenient locations: Gorham, Scarborough, Biddeford, and now Portland.
People will do whatever they gotta do to get to Ossipee Trail Motor Sales, Route 25, Gorham.
You're watching Mainly Motorsports, brought to you by Northern Race Tire, dealer for Sunoco Race Fuels, distributed by New England Racing Fuel.
Welcome back to Mainly Motorsports, and started this show off with Sulo Burbank. Went over to Ivan Cel. Now we got the pretty one, right?
No.
No? You don't think you're pretty? No, it's maybe I'm a little partial, but I'm here with my daughter Alicia Perry, and I want to talk about the kart racing. And obviously she's done a lot of kart racing. Anybody that's followed Mainly Motorsports has heard or seen Alicia and the progression she made. But we're hoping that on this show a lot of younger kids watch and kind of pay attention and listen to what Sulo and Alicia and Ivan say, as well as some of the interviews we've done, and try to model themselves. And because we got some pretty good races out there, there's some pretty good kids, and you know, like I tell Alicia all the time, it isn't always what you do in the kart or in the car as much as it is what you do out of it that brings the attention to you in a positive manner. So you know, I want to talk to you about, you know, you started kart racing at a late age, at 10 years old, and we kind of did it as a joke, tried to irritate Mom, and now the irritation's on me. But you know, tell the viewers, you know, the process you went through to get from the rookie kart racer to the racer now, that when DJ Shaw and Joey Dwyron and Tyler King and Evan Boyer and these guys that race cars show up, and they know that one of the persons that they're going to have to beat at the end of the day is you. So take us through that process.
The first year I raced in Purple Plate, and I was pretty bad. The first time I raced, I was really scared. Got lapped 7 times, and within the first few weeks, I got a little better, I guess.
Yeah, I remember you got your first trophy, and
yeah,
we'd have
5th
thought
place. I was so excited.
Yeah, it's one of the trophies that you keep in your room, you know. So.
Yeah, it meant a lot to finally get my first trophy ever in my life. And,
yeah.
And just kept getting better that year, and I was racing, like I was chasing Cameron Lovejoy a lot, and he kept winning. And finally, one week I got my first win, and that just really helped. That just
that's just huge. And I you know, and I tell any parent, and it not only relates to motorsports, but obviously we have a motorsports show. It's watching your kid get that first base hit or get that first basket. I mean, that's just huge when your kid has success, and you're so proud because, you know, they feel like a sense of accomplishment. Then you moved on to the blue plate class and spent a whole nother year chasing Cameron Lovejoy, you know?
Yeah, a whole nother year chasing him, and finally that year got my first win in that division.
Yeah, and you ended up with what, I don't know, 3 or 4 wins, or who knows? And
yeah, 3 or 4.
Dad, we had some issues there. Dad, remember the night Dad?
Yeah, he screwed up, got disqualified, but.
Yeah, me, not her, me, and but it got all rectified, and but it was a learning curve for both of us, you know, and then, you know, we decided let's take the next step, you know, went up to the gold plate.
Yeah, and that year, that went really well. We right from the beginning did pretty good. We had our weeks that didn't go so well, and they were your fault.
Yeah, and they usually are, and I can admit it. And anybody that knows me knows that they're my fault.
Yeah, but that year, once he got his act together, we did a lot better and ended up winning the championship that year, and that was a pretty big deal, and won the Mainely Motorsports 400, which
was a big deal.
Big deal.
You know, probably the biggest accomplishment was that year when you was recognized by your peers up there at Richmond Karting Speedway as being the Sportsmanship Award winner.
Yeah, that meant a lot to me. That meant more to me than my championship.
You know, because
really did.
they're looking at you as the person, not necessarily just the racer, you know. And then, you know, obviously last winter we were preparing to move you to unrestricted, and anybody that's new in karts or doesn't really have a basic understanding of karts, unrestricted is the top level. You don't go any higher than that. There's no restrictor plates in the engines. There's no, I mean, there's rules package, but that's it. You're at the top class, and we prepared you to race it, you know, by going racing indoors last year, and that was, you know,
that
I
was
told
a huge help.
yeah, that was a big help because that's like war, you know. And then, I mean, you got to race with the likes of, you know, Joey Dwyron, you know, DJ Shaw, TJ Laro, Kelsey Babb. She's like a, you know, it was neat because it gave you another girl who has a lot of karting experience to kind of talk to, you know, just to, you know, you didn't feel like an outsider, you know.
Yeah.
And then that prepared you for the outdoor season, which, you know, we had a great year. I mean, yeah, we didn't back up our championship with another championship. You know, won another Rookie of the Year title, and, you know, it just, you know, it's kept progressing. And, you know, there's a lot of kids out there, younger kids, and motorsports that, you know, or any sport that want to get better. And, you know, tell them the process you went through to try to help yourself improve and get better as a racer.
Well, just watching the older and more experienced drivers helped me a lot, and I wanted to be like them when I started racing, and when I really started to get into it, I would watch them and I just want to be there, and I was determined to get there someday. And
well, and you did. Now everybody knows about the racing, but tell them that other thing that you spend so much time doing.
Dance.
Dance, and you know, that's, compare the two of them. Is there a comparison between being on a competition dance team and then being in competition in a go-kart?
Well, they're the same competitiveness-wise, but they're two completely different things.
Yeah, I would think so. Now, who taught you all the dance moves and all the and got you in that athletic mode where you can do jumps and splits and all that stuff? Mom, Dad?
Tyler.
Tyler.
Not you guys.
Yeah, the guy is just like, you just spend money and give it to Tyler, and Tyler teaches her that stuff. So, no, it's good, and it's a lot of fun. And, you know, before we take a break on Mainly Motorsports, we're going to have you hear from a driver that just was awarded Outstanding New Driver at Beach Ridge Motor Speedway this past weekend. Finished, I believe, 4th place in points in the Roadrunner division, and could easily back up what Ryan Phillips did this year. Rookie of the Year, Outstanding New Driver 1 year, coming from karts, to go to champion the next year. And that's what Ryan Phillips did at Beach Ridge. And don't be surprised if Evan Armington does that next year at Beach Ridge. So we're going to hear from Evan Armington, then we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll let Alicia tell everyone what her plans are for 2012. So we'll be right back after Evan speaks.
I'm here with Evan Armington. Evan, I wanted to ask you, what made you want to drive a race car?
Actually, when I was 8, my, I don't know if he's like an uncle or something, but he was putting his nephew in a car, or a kart rather, and the nephew didn't want to do it, so then they offered it to me, and I took the offer to drive the kart for a summer, and then it just kind of all went from there, and then I moved along in the kart series, and then I eventually got into this car.
Do you have any more experienced drivers coming up to you and offering you advice?
Yeah, a little bit. Like my cousin DJ, obviously he's always giving me good advice on what to do, and some of the other drivers in the Roadrunner class, like Sean Brackett and Dave Cameron, they're always giving me some advice on stuff that I could do better. Just good stuff to learn.
And what do other kids your age think about you driving a race car?
It kind of depends on the kid, because some kids think it's pretty cool, And then you got the kids that are really into basketball and soccer and football and stuff like that, and they're not so much interested because they don't understand it. They just think it's going around in a circle.
And where do you see yourself in 2015?
Just hopefully doing the same thing, just racing. Just depends on what comes along. I might still be in a Roadrunner if we don't get a ride, and if we do, then we'll just keep working up the ladder with what we have.
Well, Evan, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for answering a few questions for us.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All of us at Moody's Collision Centers would like to thank you for supporting us for over 30 years.
We all own stock in Moody's and have a vested interest in you and your vehicle.
The people at Moody's Collision Centers are part of the community, and our reputation is very important to us.
We take pride in our work and guarantee our repairs for as long as you own your vehicle.
At Moody's Collision Center, we care about our customers.
So when your insurance company asks where you want to go, tell them Moody's Collision Centers. 4 convenient locations: Gorham, Scarborough, Biddeford, and now Portland.
5 years ago, I went shopping for my family's first camper. I didn't like the prices, and I didn't like the way I was treated. A year later, I opened up Scott's Recreation.
Today, Scott's Recreation is Maine's exclusive multi-line Heartland dealer, along with being Maine's #1 fifth-wheel dealer 2 years in a row. Browse through the new 2012 Heartland models or take advantage of closeout prices on 2011s. Scott's welcomes almost anything in trade, financing available too. Scott's Recreation, Route 202 in Manchester, and our sister company, Holton Power Sports, North Street, Holton.
Is it time to replace that old car, but past credit problems are getting in the way? At JT Motors, credit issues are a thing of the past. We have vehicles for any need. Growing family? How about a minivan? With winter here, come in and browse our great selection of four-wheel drive utilities. With a low down payment, you can qualify for this program despite those past credit issues. That's JT Motors, 650 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, where you always drive away with a smile on your face.
You're watching Mainly Motorsports, brought to you by Southern Maine Motors, out to be Maine's #1 Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealership, Route 1 Saco.
Welcome back to Mainly Motorsports. As we get closer to the end of this show, everybody, we've been getting a lot of phone calls, text messages, emails, people wondering, if we were going to do anything different with Alicia next year or continue on with the karting, and I ain't saying we've succeeded in karts, because you always learn at any race level, but the opportunity is going to be there to still run a few kart races. But we've been talking as a family, my wife, Alicia, myself, talking to some tracks, some tours, some people that have come from the karting ranks to the next step and see what we think. Maybe we don't need to make a move. Maybe she's plenty of time. But you know what? She likes challenges. We like challenges. And, we just felt that we came to the decision. And I'm going to let Alicia tell all the viewers of Mainly Motorsports, because we've had a lot of them asking us, We went to the Unity Banquet.
Yeah.
People asking, what are you doing? What did we tell them?
Well, we've been talking and trying to decide what the next move for me to make would be. And we've decided that a good move to make would be to race legend cars. And I'm excited because I'll be teammates with Evan Bollier, the champion.
Yeah, the champion. So that's not a bad deal. So that's the decision that we've come to, is Alicia's going to compete, and we won't be able to compete full time because there's some competition dances that we're going to have to be at in Providence, Rhode Island, and Boston. That damn dance makers. But no, that's fine. I love to watch she does a great job. But Evan and Todd Bollier, I approached them and talked to them about what I'd like to do, and we came to an agreement. And Alicia's going to be Evan's teammate, and couldn't ask for a better situation. Going right into the champion's stable, and we went out and tell them what it was like out there, this past weekend, sitting in it for the first time. And what did it feel like?
It just, I don't know, it felt cool.
Yeah, it's like
Never thought I'd be racing.
Yeah, did you ever, I mean, did you ever dream it? I mean, Mom ever dream it? Nobody ever dreamed it. So, you know, we're pretty excited. You know, there's still some tracks that we can't because of her age, but, you know, I think we can compete as many times as we possibly can down at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And, you know, we're going to do this just like the karting thing. I'm not going in and she's not going in with big expectations. We just want to, you know, get comfortable, build up her confidence. You know, I'm not looking for big results right off the bat, nor should any parent when their kid starts moving up the ladder. But, you know, I'm real excited at the opportunity to, you know, never do anything at New Hampshire Motor Speedway to personal involvement. And now to go down there and race with your, you know, your 14-year-old daughter is going to be pretty cool. And, you know, and as long as she goes about it the same way you went the kart thing, and we talk about this all the time, you know, is you got to earn the respect of the competitors, and I hate to use the word older because they're all older, but any of them, you know, from, you know, Evan Bullier and Kevin Hutchins up to the, you know, the next level if Jacob Dorr continues to run, you know, and then you have obviously Bob Weymouth, Ed Getty, Terry Kirk. I mean, you got some great guys there, and I think they're going to be, you know, it's going to be a good situation. So it is pretty exciting, and, you know, I'm excited just to be a part of it. And anybody that follows them along at the Thursday Thunder level or has seen them at some of the tracks, they put on some good racing, and that organization the last couple of years has really stepped up to the plate. So we're excited, and hopefully we can add to the program, you know. I think it'll be the first girl up here. I mean, I know down in Waterford they got a couple of girls that run, but I think you'll be the first girl up here in the Northeast to take that step. So pretty exciting. So there's the news. Alicia Perry's going to the Legend Car Series. So look forward. We'll keep you updated, and, you know, we're going to do some pretty cool things with it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this week's edition of Mainly Motorsports.
Life in Maine is all about outdoor fun and being close to nature. Southern Maine Jeep is all about delivering you the best selection and the best prices at one location. Live it up with a new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee, increased horsepower and mileage, or go for the all-new look of the Jeep Compass 4x4. If Maine had a state car, it would be the Jeep. No other vehicle has the capabilities that come standard on every Jeep. No other dealer is working as hard to be #1 as Southern Maine Motors.
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
Clark's Car Crushing has been a family-owned and operated business since 1978. We do everything from crushing cars, handling industrial scraps, to buying the scrap metal right out of the back of your pickup. Copper, brass, stainless steel, aluminum, you name it, we'll buy it. We have roll-off containers of all sizes for industrial accounts. We'll handle the legwork with full drop-off and pickup services. So for a professional job, guaranteed honest weights, and top dollar paid statewide, come see the Clark family in Farmingdale, Maine. Clark's Car Crushing. Don't fix it, scrap it.
You're watching Mainly Motorsports, brought to you by Gary Hotels, located in Brunswick, Freeport, Waterville, and Augusta, the official hotel of Mainly Motorsports. Award Champs, rewarding your champions, the official supplier of Mainly Motorsports.
Well, as we wrap up this week's edition of Mainly Motorsports, a couple quick things we want to touch on. Don't forget to go to our website, mainlymotorsportstv.com, and vote for the Mainleys. I mean, it's just been blown up. Everybody, a lot of great battles going on. I'll tell you, some of the battles that we've seen, it's just crazy. You know, it's just tight, close, guys from different tracks and organizations and tours. Just, you know, really, it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to December 20th when it's over and prepare the plaques for the presentation at the 24th Annual Northeast Motorsports Expo, which is coming around the corner there. And I mean, we're only about 6 weeks away, so it's going to be some good stuff happening up there. And, you know, it's just I can't believe it. The race season's over, banquet season. You know, we traveled up to Unity's banquet, had a great time up there. But, you know, I'm sure every motorsports enthusiast and race fan was tuned in to watch that race from Homestead. And I'll tell you, you know, we don't cover a lot of the Nextel Cup stuff, or the Sprint Cup stuff, I should say. Sorry about that. Because it's not what we're about. You know, we talked about Kyle Busch last week. But if there was ever a battle, I mean, they've never had what they so-called a Super Bowl environment, like they did at Homestead. And the thing that caught my eye the most was nobody laid down for these guys. When Tony Stewart would make those daring moves and put people in 3 wide positions, nobody backed down, nobody, you know what I mean? Everybody ran their race, and that's the way it should be. You shouldn't lay down for them. But I think the thing that impressed me the most, other than, obviously what Tony did on the track, but the way Kyle Edwards handled not winning. I don't want to say losing, I want to say not winning. That is something that every racer, every young racer out there needs to learn from, because, racing is a sport. We're going to have more bad days than we are good days. And here's a guy that led the points for the majority of the chase, the majority of the year, and because of the tiebreaker, he ends up losing the championship to Tony Stewart. He was the first guy to congratulate Tony. He was very, very cordial in his interview. Very, not poor me. First thing he said was, "How about Tony and his gang? They went out and won it." So, what a great weekend to have it as we come up and we show our kids show. And I just think it's something that all these young drivers, because we've seen drivers come up through the ranks and their attitudes haven't been on the more positive side, and it's not good for them because they get started off on the wrong foot. So I think every parent, should be proud when they know that they got their kids in motorsports, and those are our role models and the way they handled themselves. Because let's face it, within the last few weeks over on that side of things, we had that situation that it wasn't good to be a motorsports fan and have your kid look up to these guys. So what you just saw this past Sunday was huge. Congratulations to Tony Stewart, Kyle Edwards. I mean, what a battle they put on. And before we wrap up this week's edition of Mainly Motorsports, you got to make sure that within the next couple of weeks you stay tuned in, because we got a couple of big announcements that are going to be taking place here on Mainly Motorsports that are just going to be, you're going to say, wow. A couple of things we're working on to put together. I don't want to give too much info because I don't want people trying to figure out. But the first part of December, we're going to have an announcement in here that's going to make people say, that's pretty cool. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this week with Sulo, Ivan, and Alicia, and it was a great time. These kids, that's the future of this sport. We've got some young drivers out there that are still kids getting it done. This is the next generation, and I hope some of you guys follow along with Alicia next year in the 2012 season as she starts her career in cars with the NELCAR Legend Series. So we'll see you next time on Mainly Motorsports.
If you order copies of a show, send a check or money order for $15, shipping and handling included, to Mainly Motorsports, 326 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, Maine, 04062. And please add a description of the show.